What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? It's your boy Bangful B of the Lassiter Factor, and I'm back with another weekly movie rundown, the segment where I run down everything I watched throughout the week that I put into one video and don't feel like doing a more longer and complex video on. And this week I have Heretic, which came out a few weeks ago, but I ended up seeing that, and I'll explain why in a little bit. And then there's Superman, the Christopher Reeve documentary that came out a few months ago that I've been meaning to watch, and I finally got around to watching. So let's review, starting with Heretic. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I wasn't planning on seeing this in the theater. I was gonna wait till it hit digital, but I went out on a date and she wanted to go see this. So the plot of Heretic is about two missionary women that end up at this man's house that they try to convert him, and then he has opinions of his own, and then the movie is basically just a 2 hour lecture about religion and the fallacies of it and how it's changed over time. Now, I did hear from a few reviews that this is a dialogue heavy movie, so I was somewhat prepared for it. And to be fair, some of the dialogue in this movie is interesting, especially when he really gets into the lectures about like how religion has changed over time and how people change religion to fit whatever their beliefs are. And he does that through music and board games. And he does make some valid points. But after a while, it just gets a little bit overwhelming, and then you just sitting there like, all right, can we get to some of the thriller aspects of this movie? And they do get to it, and there are some twists that happen in this movie that kind of caught me off guard at times. But Hugh Grant, he definitely carries this movie. As for the two ladies that play the two missionaries, I just feel this movie just wasn't thrilling enough. And if you're going to be a dialogue heavy movie, at least make the dialogue interesting. And some of the dialogue was interesting, but at the same time, some of it just wasn't interesting. You got to have interesting enough dialogue to carry the audience through the movie. And that's why I'm going to give Heretic the shoulder shrug emoji a very solid one, with the caveat of maybe it could possibly go up a little bit into the thumbs up zone, but it depends on how I feel after maybe another rewatch. But as of right now, shoulder shrug emoji. Next is Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, which is a documentary about the life of Christopher Reeve, who we all know played Superman back in the late 70s and going into the 80s. And then, of course, you all know about his life after that, in which he got into that horrific horse riding accident that left him paralyzed from the neck down. And I'm gonna be honest, that's the most I know about him, but this documentary just added a whole nother layer to him that I never really realized. Now, Piece by Piece is probably my favorite documentary of the year, but that's mainly because of how unique it was. But if we're talking about documentaries that is not an animated movie, Superman is definitely the best one I've seen. This documentary definitely breaks down Christopher Reeve's life, and it does it in a non-linear way because the documentary starts out with a couple of months before his accident, and then the accident does happen, and then it just jumps back in time to before he was an actor, how I got into acting, and how I became Superman. And as far as his life before the accident, it really does break down like how hard he worked to get into acting and how he was cast as Superman, how he didn't want to just be boxed in as Superman. It even got into his friendship with Robin Williams. And real quick, shout out to Robin Williams. He really was a real one. We did not deserve Robin Williams, because even when Christopher Reeve was in the accident, he was all laid up, and Robin Williams, he snuck in there with a mask and everything, and he did some German accent or whatever, and he saw the smile that put on Christopher Reeve's face. Just the fact that his friend came in there and showed up for him at his lowest low, like Robin Williams. Damn, I miss him. This documentary, it really does show that Christopher Reeve, even prior to the accident, he was not a perfect person, because his first relationship, in which he got two kids out of, and he was going back and forth with trying to be a family man and then being an actor, and he even tried to get more into directing, and then we saw how that affected his relationship with his kids, and all three of his kids are there with him. And then he got into his marriage, well, his second marriage, I should say, in which he got a second child, his marriage to his wife Dana, and he actually married her, and it kind of was like a second life for him, because he had all his children around at that point. He really was trying to be a better person, and then next thing you know, that accident happened and everything just changed. And then he was depressed for a little while, and then she even told him like, hey, no matter what happens, there's nothing wrong with you. You're still the same person. And that just spoke life into him. And then after a few months, he came out at the Academy Awards on stage for the first time. He had his first public appearance in months. after the accident, and you could just saw the energy within the room. Everybody stood up. He had a standing ovation. Everybody just applauding, and he was just sucking it up in. It was basically to him like, wow, he still mattered. Even though Superman couldn't be broken, people still loved and revered him. It just showed the fact that even Superman's not perfect, but he is still Superman to a lot of people. And then he used that motivation to basically get back to work. Like, even once he was confined to the wheelchair, he was still going out directing movies. I'm like, well, shit. If my film career takes off, then I really have no excuse. I don't feel crazy for if I get confined, heaven forbid, I get confined to a wheelchair. I'm gonna still go out and make movies. And he became a real activist because he became friends with other people who were paralyzed and paraplegic. He went out there looking for a cure so that he can not only cure himself but cure others that are in the same predicament that he was in. He even inspired other people that was in the same position he was in to go out and still do great things. And even though he didn't get to live to see it, there are people out there that's being able to walk again. To me, this documentary showed that he didn't just play Superman on screen, like he really was a real life Superman off screen. And that's what I loved about this documentary, and that's why I'm gonna give Superman the Christopher Reeve story the hands up emoji, because it is a masterpiece. But that's it for the weekly rundown. Have you seen either of these? Well, movie and documentary. Have you seen any of these? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.